Magic camp. Now, doesn't that sound fun? Going to magic camp. I know I would love to go to magic camp. In fact, my guest today, magician, Excel expert, business class instructor, teaching accounting, sales use tax, traveling the country, teaching seminars, has taken his passion with his experience, mixed them together, and has created a virtual life skills class called Magic Camp. And it is exactly the way it sounds. Folks, welcome Mr. Scott Barhold.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Scott. This is very exciting. First of all, I want to let the people that are watching know that we did not purposely dress alike with the blue shirts. This was
you made me put my vest on. You sent me out.
You did put the vest on, so that's good. I don't have a cool vest like you, but we just showed up. We're wearing the same shirts, color, but hey, it's okay. I'm not the cool magician. I'm just trying to make magic happen here with this interview. And with you today, it's going to be amazing. So welcome to the show. I want to ask you, and I know we talked a little bit before, I've got my mug. Did you bring anything with you today?
Well, I didn't bring a mug, but I have my very, very special lunchbox that I travel with all the time. I travel with it because you never know when you're going to have to come up with a big show. Now, this is actually bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. I'll show you what I mean. Because when I go to a really big magic show, I need a really big magic wand. And that's where we get it from. It comes right out of here. You can see it coming. It just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. There we go. There we go. So when we have a really big magic show, now I have a really big magic wand.
Awesome. That is a big wand.
That is. That's a really big trick.
Thank you for bringing your lunchbox.
Yes.
Now, if I went to magic camp, would I learn how to do that?
The magic camp we're talking about today, you wouldn't learn that particular trick, but I bet you I could show it to you, and it's really not that hard to do. Believe it or not, magic is not as difficult as we make it look. That's the illusion.
That's awesome. Well, talk about who you are, your journey, and your background. How did you go from accountant, business expert, because I know you help businesses with their profits. That is your I know not so much your gift is magic, but that's your main business. Yet you are also the creator of this magic camp. So tell us all about it, your background. How does someone do that?
Well, I've been doing magic since I was in second grade. I mean, it's one of those things. My mom liked magic. And I remember my teacher calling my parents up to the school and they thought I had a learning disability. I can't tell you what it was. I just didn't want to be there. That's what it really was. But they said that I had a learning disability that revolved around reading, and my mom and dad didn't have all the money to send me to all these special classes and all the stuff that the school wanted to do. My mom loved magic, so she went out and got books on magic. The philosophy was, look, if he can read it and do it, he must understand it. So this was all about a learning disability. Mm-hmm. And then I also excelled through school in math. It was what I was given. So I enjoyed it, and I went to school originally for computers, mm-hmm. and then, as luck would have it, I wound up going into the accounting area and found out I loved it. I went back to school and got my degree and started working with business owners, only to find out that business owners hate accounting. And one of the things that made accounting so exciting to me is when I grew up, in my neighborhood, about half the parents worked for big companies like Grumman on Long Island, and half the parents owned their own small businesses. Mm-hmm. And I remember sweeping up hair at the barbershop, in Manny's Barbershop in Corona, New York. And I remember cleaning up and doing little stuff around at the pizza parlor. And I remember working for Bruce at Acorn Landscaping. And I remember all these little jobs that I used to have. And because you were 13, 14, 15. I remember painting apartments in Queens and hanging vertical blinds. I couldn't drive. So I relied on the business owner to get me to and from. And in most every one of those businesses, except for the painting one, before I could get home, they always had a balance of books at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned if I could start balancing the books, I could get home sooner.
Oh, that's a great story.
Well,
okay.
That's how it all started. So everything that started from a learning disability, I focused on what my strengths were, the math, and then I had to learn how to do this stuff. And I turned it into, that's what I went to school for. And now I don't call myself an accountant. I call myself a profit and growth expert. I help business owners increase profits, reduce taxes, keep more money to run and grow their business.
Perfect.
That's what I do. I've been fortunate enough that magic has allowed me to travel. Well, my accounting skills have allowed me to travel, but I used magic in my seminars to drive home business fundamentals, teaching accounting and QuickBooks and sales and use tax and budgeting and all those things, because nobody wants to learn this. But all of a sudden you use a magic trick, they're never going to forget it, because now all of a sudden it was something amazing and it was tied to the message. Mm-hmm. And now what we're doing here with Discover Magic is we're using the same principle, use magic to empower kids to change their life and their future and just raise the limits of wherever they want to go. And that's exciting to me.
That is. So you use the term, and I wrote a bunch of notes down here because you're just so cool and I'm so mesmerized that I have to write things down to remember them. So you use the term virtual life skills class. Tell me about your first major breakthrough with, and it's not virtual life, right? It's not like virtual as if it doesn't exist. It's life skills class that you've made into a virtual type class.
Well, let's start off with 2020 has changed everything, right? Because the way this was always done in the past is you'd get a group of kids together, you'd do it live, and everybody would have a great time. You'd meet every Saturday morning for 8 weeks, and everybody would have a fun time. We'd have a pizza party at the end. The kids would get their magic wand. It was great. Mm-hmm. 2020 changed all that because you can't do that anymore. And fear has stepped in, and I'm not saying it's wrongful fear or it's rightful fear. The fact of the matter is there's danger out there. Getting together in big groups right now is not the safest thing to do. So things had to change. Mm-hmm. And virtual became a thing because let's face it, I'm a father of 3 girls. Now my last one is in her junior year of college. But I was a coach. I coached bowling. I coached baseball. I coached soccer. I did all those things. And we were teaching life skills on the field in soccer, communication, being trustworthy that you're going to be in the places that you're supposed to be. If you're supposed to be playing on the right-hand side of the field, you're not going to wander over to the left. If you're a defense person, you're not going to go up over to the offense side. You're going to be where you're supposed to be. And it was about life lessons there too. I used to talk to the parents, not yell at the parents. I used to talk to the parents. Don't scream at your kid's score, because if they do a great kick and the goalie makes a great save, all they've done is disappointed you. Shoot. That's what we want to see, right? Just we trained them of what to do. And I remember talking to one of the kids one time. She kicked the ball, drove the ball back to the goalie, our goalie, because she was in a bad spot. She couldn't pass the ball. So she kicked the ball back to the goalie. And when she did, she scored a goal on our own team. And my question to her was, well, what were you thinking? Was your intent to pass it to the goalie? Might not have been a good mental thought. Or were you trying to pass it across the field and the execution was poor? Because you have to know what to train. Right? If you don't know what the problem is, if you don't know what they were thinking, maybe she kicked it to her teammate and it went off the side of her foot and wound up going in the goal. Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't her intent. So tell me, what was going through your head? No, I wanted to pass it back to the goalie. Okay, why did you think that was a good idea? And what can we do differently in the future? So those were live. But today, what are the kids doing? They're sitting home, they're watching YouTube, mind-numbing video games, right? Parents have got to be getting frustrated because they're all becoming screenagers. All you see, they're at the dinner table. You can't get them to look up.
And I love that term, by the way, screenager. Did you hear that, folks? A screenager. I love that. All right. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no problem. But, you know, this is the way we see our kids. We don't even know they have a face anymore because their faces are always down. But what if we could get them to look up, get them to interact into something live, not binge watching Gilligan's Island reruns for the 100th time, right? This is something that's live. It's happening. Today, whether we're sitting home or not, the important thing to understand is even though school might not be in session or they're doing virtual classes half the week or they're doing different stuff, if your kids aren't learning these skills, they're being left behind because guess what? They're still growing up. And because the schools don't have their act together, and maybe some do and some don't, but we really don't know what's happening. Putting them back in school, there's danger. Or is it going to increase this virus? And I'm not trying to do fear. The thing is, it's the reality. So what do you do? And I know my niece is keeping her kids home. I'm going to homeschool them. Well, then they're going to lose those social gifts that they get by going out. How are you going to match that? Oh, I haven't thought about that, but there'll be time for that. No, the time is now. This is when we develop those skills, right? This is when we stop people from being scared of failure. This is when we start, because that's part of it. Making mistakes is part of life. Interacting with people is part of life. They're not going to be able to go through their entire life on a virtual set.
Right, right. You know, I remember being a kid. I was a shy kid. I mean, you may not think so, but I was a shy kid. And I ended up getting, as a kid, a little magic set. And it was maybe like a little suitcase plastic thing. And I think there were some things where I'd put milk in a thing. I'd say, look here, I'm going to roll up a newspaper and, you know, milk is gone. And I just do some very, very simple tricks. And I must have been first, second, third grade. But I did it, and I had a magic show. I invited my neighbor, and she brought her 2 kids over, and they were younger. And it really brought out my shyness, took me out of my shell. When I saw that appreciation, that awe, and that wonder, it was pretty exciting. So I definitely, what you've said resonates with me personally. And you've sounds like you've taken core values, something that's teaching these core, not only socialization, which I resonates with me, but also core values. And you've created this amazing virtual magic camp. Tell us about that.
Well, the camp, there's 8 classes to the camp. And in fact, all 8 classes fit in this wonderful little box, and the kids get all these little tricks, and they get a magic wand and all that stuff. But each of the classes is based on our core values. And what we teach is there are 8 steps to being a true magician. A true magician is respectful, not only to their peers and their friends, but to teachers and parents and their elders as well. We teach them about being prepared, right? You can't go into a magic show, never have done this before, and say, I'm going to put on a show, because you got to practice. You got to get organized, right? And it teaches the lessons that being practiced and organized is a way to be successful at all your endeavors. It's not just about the magic. It's about the things we do in life, right? Magic is, a true magician is enthusiastic. And let's be honest, excitement is contagious. Who wants to go see a magic show where the guy's like, all right, I'm going to make the rings stick together, now they're apart? Nobody wants to see that, right? So when you're doing stuff that's exciting, it attracts others and the energy grows. A true magician is confident. When you're standing up in front of a room full of people and all the eyes are on you and you're doing something that entertains, right? It's so much better to be a fun guy doing some cool tricks than to have cool tricks being done by some guy, right? It's nice, right? It's part of who you are. A magician is humble. It's hard to think about that because when you're standing up in front of everybody, the ego is big. But guess what? Even the best magician makes mistakes. I've made mistakes, tons of mistakes, right? I didn't get here by being perfect. I wish that was true, but it isn't. Made lots of mistakes. But you know what I've learned from the biggest mistakes I've made is where I learned the most. And it's important to be humble and recognize mistakes, not only your own, but in others. And being humble means that you can help them as well. A true magician is creative because every opportunity, every interaction that we have, whether it's a magic trick or a show or sitting in a classroom, every time we interact with somebody else, it's an opportunity. It's a new opportunity. And then a true magician is authentic, not only accepting yourself, but accepting others for who they are and as they are. And a true magician is giving, because magic doesn't work if you don't share it, right? This box is going to sit on this table, this whole rest of this deal. This box is going to sit there and do absolutely nothing, because until I share it with somebody, magic doesn't happen. That's what we teach. It's incredible.
I love that. And so, folks, I want you to think about this. This is a magic camp that's teaching kids. And what's the age range, Scott, for a magic camp?
Kids, boys and girls from 7 to 13.
Okay.
That's the age that we work, and it works pretty good. Now, we've had kids up to 15. We've had a couple of them that get down to 6, but once you start getting lower than that, the reading gets a little bit more difficult, and the dexterity. So, but 7 to 13 is our core.
All right. So think about that, folks. And I've had 3 kids. I know, Scott, you have 3 kids. My kids are gone, and they're not gone, but they're in college and a little bit beyond. So if you could have your 7 to 13-year-old child learn these life skills, that's amazing. I remember you sent your kids to school, you send them maybe to church, you send them to summer camp. You hope they gain some of these skills, but they're not teaching this stuff in school, as far as I've seen. Are they?
No, this is left to the parents to do, and parents do try to do the best that they can. I mean, let's face it, 3 kids, you throw enough stuff at them, you hope it's right, and you hope it works. But as parents today, we're busier than ever. We're working. Some of us are working multiple jobs. Moms and dads aren't there. The kids are doing what they can do. And I mean, I know myself, and my kids were always considered good. But every once in a while, you get a call from another parent, a neighbor, maybe the school. Do you know what your kid did? No. What'd they do? No, my kid wouldn't do that. Well, here, watch the video. Right? It happens. So one of the things that's cool here is we have kids, it's programming them to reflect for better empowerment for themselves.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, and I tried to take quick notes.
I talk fast.
But the whole point here is, imagine if you could have employees that were respectful, prepared, enthusiastic, I think confident is what I wrote down, right? Humble, creative, authentic, and giving. That to me is a great employee.
What's the old song? What a wonderful world it would be.
It would be a wonderful, boy, if everyone was like me, hey, we'd all get along great. But that's what I love about this concept is you are teaching those skills now as they move forward. So where do you see, where do you see the overlooked opportunities in a virtual life skills class right now?
You're approaching kids at their level. First of all, they're already on the computer, right? We have a new verb in our vocabulary today. We're Zooming.
Yeah.
Like years ago, we didn't know what Googling was. Now we do that all the time. Parents are doing the best they can, and they're hoping their kids are going to catch on, but there's nothing in here that's, when my first daughter was born, I was looking for the instruction manual. She didn't come with one. And then we had 2 more, right? And no kid came with an instruction manual. How do you do this? Well, what we started to do was, with this program, we're giving the kids an instruction manual for their success. Mm-hmm. And that's where I see this, because this stuff isn't going away. Virtual learning is here to stay. And we can either keep doing what we're doing and hope things get better, or hope for a better result, right? What's Einstein's definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing we've been doing and hope for a better result. Or we can become the change we want to see. We can put the kids in the driver's seat and prepare them for that driver's seat and give the kids the skills that they need to look and function in the world and set them up for success. And the cool thing is, the tools we're teaching them, it doesn't matter whether you want to be an accountant, whether you want to be a magician. These skill sets are universal. They're fundamentals of just survival.
Yeah. I tell folks, hope is great, but hope is not a great strategy. And I tell that when I teach my HR classes.
Well, what if we changed your definition of hope?
Okay. Is that
what
a
if we
magic
made it a
trick?
fantastic strategy?
Okay.
What if we changed it to help other people every day?
HOPE. I love it.
That's not mine. Comes from a friend of mine, Dean Hankey. But if you help other people every day, and that's what this is designed to do.
Sure.
We help the kids. We set them up that they can recognize and they can help others every day from where they're at. I just don't think there's a better thing in life that you can do. For years, I've always said the greatest sound on earth is laughter. The only thing that beats laughter is laughter from kids.
I love that. So hope can be a strategy. Folks, did you hear that? Hope can be a strategy. Okay. Well, in regards to, and I wrote this down, how would you sum everything up we discussed today? Just a few final thoughts. And I've got a few other questions, but when it comes to the Magic Camp and virtual learning, what else would you add in on virtual learning?
We really are just getting into it. We don't know where it's going to head. And watching what's happening out there, it can get frustrating because it's new and it's technology. And if you're forcing kids to do it, like, oh, we're going to go to school through virtual, I'm sure the first couple of weeks of COVID, it was exciting. But by the time we got to May and June, kids were like, really? I'm going to sit here all day again? There was a funny thing I saw on Facebook where one of the kids, he turned his camera off and had to changed his name to Reconnecting. So he could be off doing something else. The only reason the teacher knew he was lying is because it didn't say he spelled reconnecting wrong. But this is just funny stuff, right? So virtual does not have to mean that it's not interactive. Virtual does not have to mean it's not real, because this is a real class. It's really happening. These are digital events. But if you said digital, people wouldn't know what that meant. So we call it virtual. It gives them an idea. But I want you to know this class, as much as we call it a virtual event, it's not. It is a digital event where there's interaction. The kids are going to get to learn something. Then they get to show what they learned. They're going to stand in front of cameras and be able to demonstrate to others how they overcame something new, that self-doubt, all those things. That's part of being a magician, and the practice and all the other things that we talked about. So some of my final thoughts is I don't think there's a better program out there to grab kids, get them excited about learning these things, right? Because when my daughters went to college, the first thing that happened is they stopped getting up on Sunday morning and go to church because it wasn't as much fun as it used to be, right? And they start making different life decisions. So this is a way to get them excited about making life decisions that moms and dads can be proud of. And the kids are going to love it at the same time. As a matter of fact, I very rarely hear a child go back to their dad or mom and say, hey, thanks for sending me to school today. That was really cool. But I have heard kids go to their parents and go, Mom, Dad, thanks for sending me here. This was fantastic. Right? And when a parent hears that, and I'm not saying all the kids that come to this are angels. I'm not saying all of them are evil, but every once in a while you get a parent who comes back and goes, wow, we were starting to have some problems with little Johnny's behavior or little Susie's behavior. And things changed since they started doing this, because there's accountability and responsibility and who we are and what we do. Responsible to each other, ourselves, and to others. Right. So I think those are some of the thoughts that I just, it's hard to say all this stuff. I got so much going through my head at the same time, but kids see the world for the first time. And if we don't help them to do things, right? Chuck, do you have a dog?
Absolutely, I do.
Cool. We've had dogs over the years.
I think I hear him sniffing outside the door right now, actually.
Everybody wants that dog that'll sit, stay, fetch, roll over, play dead, bring me the newspaper, get the remote control.
I like that.
But dogs don't know how to do that unless you spend a whole lot of time getting them there. Now, I'm not saying our kids are dog smart, but when we first get them, they're an empty slate. And if we don't train them of how we want them to be and where we want them to go, and we don't give them the foundation, how can we expect them to just figure it out on their own? Mm-hmm. Right? And this is a great way. And like I said, parents are doing a great job. But nobody wants to sit at the dinner table and get lessons on morality. But if there's something fun that you can turn into something amazing, that's what makes the difference.
I love that. So I know we're going to tell people how to get hold of you in a couple of minutes, but I went on your website, and this is just some notes I made. So the classes, they are live, right? So this is a live class. This isn't a video tutorial. This is actually you up there teaching, correct?
Yes.
So that's cool. It is interactive. So once again, it wasn't you just, what would be the word? Giving a keynote speech for our business adults in the group today.
Yeah.
You weren't just doing a keynote speech. You had interaction. And most of all, from what I could see, is it was fun. Did I miss anything else? Did I get it all?
No, you got it all. And I mean, we do things and we'll hold up a picture or something and what is it? And then we play a game, would you rather, right? So these are things, it gets the kids thinking independently. It's not just structured, okay, now do this, now do this, now do that. That's good for the magic, but hey, what's this? And come up with 3 answers that you think it could be. And then we poll the room. Now we do keep class sizes limited to 15. And that's just so that everybody gets a chance to participate.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea.
Well, and then this way we can poll it and it builds friendships, even though they're just virtual. And then we break out into groups and the kids can practice and then they come back and we ask them, so you were Billy's partner, Chuck. And what did you see that of what Billy did from what we learned? What did you see that you thought he did really well? So now they're learning how to give compliments to others. And more importantly, people are learning how to receive compliments.
That's fantastic. You know, these basic things that I spend my career trying to teach adults in a setting of training classes, communication class. Right? We teach communication class. Tomorrow, our next couple of days, I'm teaching how to deal with difficult people class. You know, so I mean, those are the types of things, and you're teaching them now. There was something else on your site in regards to the way you have it set up. I saw some things, purple wands, this color wand. What is all that?
Well, each wand set here. Let me reach in there, and I don't know if it's going to show. You can see, well, you might be able to see that that's purple. I hope you can see that it's purple.
Bluish purple.
This kit that I just happen to have off to my right is the purple wand. It's unlocking the secrets. This is the first class that we usually take kids through. It is definitely the easiest of the classes. And this is, I said unlocking the magic, but it's unlocking the secrets. And this is what's going to introduce them to some of the magic. Then we have the green wand class. Now, you don't have to take them in any specific order. It doesn't matter. But though the tricks there's a little bit more mystery to them. It's not just about magic. There's a little bit of mentalism. There's some other stuff in there. And then we have the orange wand class, which is unlocking the wonder. And it's tapping into other things that people wonder how you did that, right? So there's a guy I know from Utah. His name is Jeff Stone, and what a great magic creator he is. His words are, he doesn't present well. I don't believe that. I think he's awesome. But I remember him telling me that he was in Toastmasters and he wrote a paper called You Don't Want to Know. Mm-hmm. And it was all about people say, well, how'd you do that? And his response has always been, you don't want to know.
Right.
And so when we're talking about the orange wand, it's all those things that make you, the tricks are there and they make you wonder. And we've got another class. So this isn't just, we start you off with an eight trick set, 8 sessions. I've done it in the summers before COVID, where we met Monday, Tuesday. Well, we met Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And on Friday, we had a pizza party. So they met 9 times and the kids had a great time. But there's logistics of parents getting to the place and from the place and picking Johnny up and permission slips and getting a place to rent. Virtual has made that, mom and dad, they're at your house. This can be done in your living room. Yeah. And the cool thing is we deliver the magic set to you on day one. Well, before day one. So you get all 8 tricks and then, but there's instructions. Don't open the envelope until you instruct it to. And then we put different numbers on them, and they don't go 1 through 8. So you don't know which one to open.
That
right?
is cool.
It's about magic. Keep the curiosity, keep the thing, right? And kids get points for following instructions. So, and then there's different things that we can do, and there's games and all kinds of stuff. So the different wands, think about the karate belt system, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you advance, you get different stuff. So the purple magic wand is the kit that I have, and we have, it's just a kit that's right off to my right. We have all the kits. But right now, we're getting ready to offer the purple wand. So we have a bunch of kits here right now to do that. And I rotate them after we do the purple, then we'll do green, then we'll do orange, then we'll do blue, and then we'll come back to purple, and we get different kids in there. And so that's how we do that. Yeah, well, the website is Florida Magic Academy, and right now you'd be going to Florida Magic Academy /Purple Wand 1. Because right now, with school just coming back, we're offering the class in 2 sessions, Purple Wand 1, Purple Wand 2. They're 4 weeks each. We meet on Saturday mornings at 8:30 in the morning right now, 8:30 to 9:30. And they can do that at home. I remember being a kid. I don't know about you, Chuck. I don't know how different our ages are, but Saturday morning was cartoon time.
Absolutely.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
So, and one thing I do want to share with you is when the class is over, it's not over, because your child enrolled, or because you enrolled your child, they get access to a vault of additional videos and training and all kinds of other stuff that are bonuses. That stuff is video, but it still keeps the core principles intact. That's the important part. So it doesn't matter what they're learning, right? One of the videos, and I'll spoil it a little bit, is they're talking about, you see the guy, he takes a bow and arrow and he shoots the bow and arrow and shoo, but it doesn't hit the bullseye. And the announcer goes, I can tell he didn't hit his target. I can tell that because there's a target here and he's aiming for the middle and he hit all the way up here. So that's why we set goals, so we know how far, right? So we're talking about goal setting.
Yes.
And then the next time you see the guy is standing there and there's no target downrange, he does the bow and arrow and poof, it just goes in, and he takes the target and he slams it on the arrow right in the center. Poof, perfect, bullseye every time, right? So what if you could take your life and say, okay, I'm going to be able to do this stuff and set myself up that I hit the target every time.
Scott, you have amazing amount of philosophical points to share, mixing magic with business skills and success. I've loved having you on here. In fact, I would imagine some of the folks are on here right now saying, we wanted more magic tricks. So maybe in the future, we'll have you back on for more magic tricks. Scott Barhold, thank you for being on here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the HR and Leadership Spotlight Show. If you want a little bit of HR magic at some point in time, give us a shout out. You want to go to gethrhelpnow.com, gethrhelpnow.com. Until then, we will see you later. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Chuck.